you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and ladies. That makes official. Welcome to the Big Show. Folks, we are the oldest living podcast in existence that still does 1 to 2 daily shows every single day. Please support us and refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives, or else you might just lay awake at night going, I didn't refer anybody to the show. I feel incomplete. No, I'm just kidding. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss. Why does Chris always attack his audience and make him not sleep? Because we need referrals. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing young man on the show. We're going to be talking about his book, Tom Clancy, Pressure Depth. Jack Stewart is the new author that's, I believe, taking over the series. And we're going to be talking to him. This is book 15 of 16, a Jack Ryan Jr. novel, book 15 of 16. That means you already got one cooking, right?
That's right.
I was doing the math there. I'm like, wait, 15 of 16. But yeah, it's kind of funny. We've had times on the show where I find the next Tom Clancy book on Amazon, and they're like, that's not supposed to be up. And there's a picture. And they're like, yeah, the picture's not supposed to be up. Whoever knows what they're doing up there, I guess they know what they're doing. So we're going to get into it with him. We're going to talk about his insights and all that good stuff. And as always, we've had all the Tom Clancy authors on the show. So make sure you go watch those as well and get into them. Jack Stewart is a retired U.S. Navy fighter pilot with over 2 decades of service and multiple combat deployments, including assignment to the Joint Special Operations Command. He is a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy, a U.S. Navy U.S. Navy Fighter Weapons School, that's the Top Gun school, and holds a Master of Science in Global Leadership from the University of San Diego. Damn. He is the USA Today bestselling author of Silent Horizons, W.E.B. Webb Griffin Direct Action, in the Battleborn series. He lives in Dallas, Texas with his wife and 3 children. And welcome to the show, Jack. How are you, sir?
I am great. Thank you. That introduction just almost made a brain bleed. It's a lot.
I've had people say to me, they're like, can you follow me everywhere and induce me whenever I walk into the room?
Yeah, for real.
Maybe my kids will respect me more. Hear ye, so enters the room Jack Stewart.
Yeah, I think we all need someone like that in our life. Play
the what is it the presidents get? They get that presidential music playing.
Yeah, the pomp and circumstance.
Anyway, Jack, give us your .coms, wherever you want people to get to know you better on the website.
Yeah, my website is .com, and I'm on social media, books on Instagram, and Jack Stewart Book at Twitter or X, no S because it was too many letters. That's pretty much where they can find me.
Yeah. This Jack Ryan Jr. guy, he's always in trouble and he's always doing stuff. Is this a book where he just kind of vacations, puts his feet up on the couch and sits on the beach drinking a Mai Tai?
Yeah, I think we all want to read that book, right? And just retired and watching TV.
He finds a lot of trouble. What's up with that? So give us a 30,000 overview, if you would, please.
Yeah, so actually, it starts off with Jack Ryan Jr. on Guam, and he's doing what John Clark calls vacation, and he doesn't even know what a vacation is. But he's there to do a basic insurance dive job for Hendley Associates, and at the same time, a Navy dive team is nearby working on testing of a new unmanned underwater vehicle called the Manta Ray. And while they're doing the testing, they uncover something on the bottom of the ocean. As word filters back through the intelligence channels back to the director of national intelligence, Mary Pat Foley, they realize that there's something that the Soviets put on the bottom of the ocean and they need to get to it.
There's something on the bottom of the ocean there, man. Tell us a little bit. Tell us where you're at with the Tom Clancy folks. Are you taking over the book writing for now? What's the outlook for future books that you'll be working on?
Yes, the series there's basically 2 separate series. There's the Jack Ryan series, and that features the Jack Ryan we all know and love, who's now the president of the United States. And that series is being helmed by MP Woodward, who was the Jack Ryan Jr. author. And so that created a vacancy. And so I stepped up. I will be writing the Jack Ryan Jr. And as of right now, I'm working on the third book in that series, my third book in that series. And I'm going to continue it as long as they'll let me.
And yeah, that'd be great. So there's another book that's in the works coming, I guess.
Yeah. You mentioned finding stuff on Amazon. Yeah, it's on Amazon right now. Next one.
So how often do you see with your writing and how you put things together, how often do you see maybe the future of the series? Is it going to change on kind of the pattern it's used to release books, or every 6 months, once a year? How do things usually work when you write for you?
Yeah, when I write for myself, I'd like to do just one book a year, but it's sort of, I end up getting involved in overlapping deadlines, and so my pace over the last several years has been pretty ridiculous. This year was a light year. In 2026, I think only 2 books published. 2027, I'm going to have 4 books published. So it's going to be busy. But as far as the Tom Clancy universe goes, it's pretty standard. There's 3 books that are published a year. It's either 2 Jack Ryan and 1 Jack Jr. or vice versa.
So people can look forward to that. And and your background, tell us a little bit about your book writing on your personal side and how many books you have over there with your series and what you've done.
Yeah, I got into writing with the Battleborn series was my first, and that was published through Seven River Publishing, a 4-book series. And all 4 of them are out now. And then I got into a co-writing opportunity with a guy named Chad Robichaux, who's a former Force Recon Marine. He does some incredible things with the veterans. And so I decided to write a series with him called Silent Horizons. The 2 of the 3 books are out. The 3rd book is going to come out next year. And then I slipped into the estate writing deal. I wrote 1 book for W.E.B. Griffin's Presidential Agent series before I got the tap to step in and write for Tom Clancy. And then meanwhile, I signed another contract with the Andrews and Wilson imprint at Blackstone, and have a book coming out with them next year that kind of focuses on naval aviation. I've got my own books, and I'm plan on continuing to have my own books. But again, writing in the Clancy universe is so fun. I want to keep doing that as long as I can.
Yeah. And it's wonderful. How did you end up when you were growing up? Was Tom Clancy one of your features when you were writing? Was that something maybe you aspired to hit that level of his success?
Yeah, he was definitely one of the authors that I read voraciously. I read every single book that he published. There were other thriller authors like Stephen Kuntz and Dale Brown, those guys that I always read their books. W.E.B. Griffin was another one. So the fact that I've been able to write in both the W.E.B. Griffin Presidential Agent series and then also now the Tom Clancy Jack Ryan Jr. series, it's pretty surreal when you open up the back cover of the book and you see my picture and my bio directly underneath Tom Clancy's. I mean, that's a pinch me moment.
Yeah. And so how did this come about? What was it like? This is a big deal, right? Being at this level and writing for Tom Clancy. What was it like getting that call and finding out that they wanted to work with you?
Yeah, I don't think I didn't make it a mystery to anybody in the industry that this was a goal of mine. They knew that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to write for Tom Clancy, and I pushed for it and set myself up. And then when I finally got the call, it was like, okay, now it's real. Now I can't screw it up. I can't be the one guy that just brings this whole universe to an end. And so there's a lot of stress there, but it's really been fun, not just to play with the characters that Tom Clancy created, but also a whole host of authors after him that created amazing characters. Guys like Mark Graney and Mark Cameron and Don Bentley, Mike Woodward. They created these amazing characters that now I get to play with. And so it's been a really fun, enjoyable process for me.
Yep. And so, it's got to be exciting. Work for your heroes, work with your heroes. The Tom Clancy, of course, all the movies and books and stuff like that. So what are you outlooking when you came to the table for this first Clancy book that you're writing? Were you like, I'm going to muck with a little bit with the formula. I'm going to maybe create some different scenarios. You come from a fighter, a fighter background. And so maybe that has some influence on how you shape the narrative. Well, tell us about some of that process and how you approached it.
Yeah. First and foremost, I'm a fan of the series. I've read all the books. Even as other guys were writing the series, I'd pick up their books and read them, and I was reading them for enjoyment. And so that's really what I want to deliver, is a book that fans can enjoy. Tom Clancy fans are very unique in that it's a huge universe, and there's so many books in the canon that with characters that continue to grow, and the Tom Clancy readers will call you out if you get anything wrong. And so I wanted to make sure I was as accurate as I could be. I know I screwed up, but I wanted to be as accurate as I could be and deliver them an entertaining read. But I gave Ward Larson a hard time because he was the last one to write the Jack Ryan series. He wrote Rules of Engagement. It had an F-18 Hornet on the cover. And I said, man, Ward, you took my cover. That's what I was going to use. So I had to go completely the opposite direction and go to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. The bottom of the ocean.
That's right.
The place that I was watching a recent thing on, what was it? Oh, it was one of those big scientist guys who's always on talking about science stuff. He's really brilliant. But he was talking about why it's harder to go to the bottom of the ocean than it is to go up into space.
Yeah.
Because there's no pressure in space for the most part. In the ocean, we saw that with that one tub submersible that went to the Titanic and imploded. It's a lot of pressure, all that water and stuff.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of pressure. And like I mentioned it in the book, that it's as a deep sea diver at 600 feet, you are further away from breathing fresh air on the surface of the earth than an astronaut who's on the space station.
Really?
It's easier for an astronaut on the space station to re-enter Earth's atmosphere, splash down, and be rescued than it is to be a diver and decompress to reach the surface.
Wow. Yeah, now, have you done diving? Have you done some of the different activities that you talked about in the book?
No, I haven't done anything remotely as difficult as what's described in the book. I've always been interested in diving, and so I use this as an opportunity to go get my scuba certification so I can at least appreciate what it's like to be underwater and breathing from a hose, which I'd never done. So I did get certified, but most of the technical aspects of the book, I draw from. I have friends who are Navy divers or Navy SEALs, and I drew from their experiences and their expertise just to make sure I got the details right.
Yeah, you tend to write what you know and stuff, and that are a lot of authors who have come on the show. They're like, yeah, I set the scene of the book in France so that I could have the company pay for me to go.
Yeah.
Do research. Yeah.
That's right. So research is very important.
And you've been writing. How many books have you written then, pre Clancy?
So I've 7 published before Pressure Depth. And so Pressure Depth will be my 8th published book.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. And when did you know that you would become a writer? You probably started maybe writing. Some people do poems, some people do little limericks, or they kind of write stuff out. How did you know you kind of had a knack for this thing?
I still don't know that I have a knack for it, but I grew up telling stories.
Huh.
I would write short stories, or I made a lot of comic books just from myself. Always had that creative mind, I guess. Lived in bookstores, lived in libraries. For me, the library was like your passport to adventure. Anything you wanted to learn, you could find a book about it in the library. And so I always grew up thinking that one day I'd want to write a book and have it published and have it sitting on the shelf of a library. And so that was kind of what I set out to do. I really didn't think about it being a career. I just thought about, okay, I'm going to write one. And then once I wrote my first book, I realized, okay, it's not as daunting as I thought. I can actually write a book. It takes work. It's hard, but I can do it. And so I gradually got better, and now it's a real career.
What a wonderful thing to build, man. You grow up, you work with your heroes and stuff like that. So what were some of the things, maybe parts of the story that you enjoyed writing or came upon, and you were like, hey, I really like this scenario. Can you give us a scene or two maybe that you liked?
I think for me, I want to think about situations where Jack Ryan Jr. is completely isolated. The way it was described to me is he needs to be in a situation where he can't just pick up the phone and call the Marines and have the Marines come ashore and save him. He's got to be able to solve problems himself. And so I like to think of places where he is completely isolated, and I couldn't think of any place that was more isolating than the bottom of the ocean. And writing those scenes, partly because it terrifies me. I can't imagine. I've watched a ton of documentaries in the research on deep sea divers, the guys that do the decompression diving, the saturation diving, and I can't imagine that being my work environment where I go to work living in a pressurized module for weeks at a time and then riding a diving bell down to the bottom of the ocean. It fascinates me. It terrifies me. And so that's what I really enjoyed writing in this book, is introducing the reader to that world.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty dynamic series where planes, trains, automobiles. There's lots of different ways to, and people love these books. Why do you think people love this type of genre so much? Because they sell well, and people just eat these books up.
Yeah, I think the reason I was attracted to the books when I was a kid was it was entertaining, first of all, as the books all need to be entertaining to keep your attention. But I learned something as well. Tom Clancy was very detail oriented. And so I learned a lot about the military, how the military was structured, how the intelligence community was structured, how they work together. And so when you sit in your couch and you turn on the news and you see something that's going on in the world, Tom Clancy kind of gave you an idea of what was going on behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think people enjoy that. Today, it's just escapism. I think there's enough stuff going on in the world. People just want a hero in their life.
Yeah, they want a hero in their life. I like how you said that. Because, to me, I don't read a lot of or see a lot of movies about the world going to hell, because all I'm going to do is turn on the news these days. And and every day it's like, every hour it's, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And what country am I in? This is America, or it used to be. And it's 2026, folks. If you're watching this 20 years on YouTube, like you do now, so don't write comments like, "That's not going on right now, Chris. We're being overrun by Terminators." Yeah, that's your problem. I'll be dead in 20 years probably. Anyway, that was dark. Anyway, I'm not going to be dead in 20 years. I'm going to live forever. You're going to have to put up with this podcast for the next 50 years. Sorry. Anyway, so it's wonderful to have you. We need to have you on. I guess since the other books, we know when that's coming on, I'll talk to the folks there at the thing and have you on for the second.
Yeah, of course.
And so you haven't thrown the baby out with the bathwater and said, I'm going to put my own stamp on this and I'm just going to do whatever I want. And maybe people read the book and go, this is a little bit different than normal Tom Clancy. You followed the recipe and then I don't know if you've tweaked it any, or maybe put your own stamp of a fingerprint on it.
I think every author does, whether they intend to or not. What I like to do is I like to take everything that every author before me has incorporated and build off of it. I don't want to be like our politicians who come into office and try to undo everything the last guy did. I want to actually build from it and move forward. And so I think people will find Jack Ryan Jr. as a character is different, and he's growing and he's maturing. And I think that's what I really want him to be, is somebody who actually has some depth as a character, as a human being. And so over the course of my books, I think you'll see that.
Yeah. I suppose everybody would have their own influences as meaning as you're writing. Do you have to write in the voice that, like they talk in editing, they're like, oh, we want to edit this and make sure we preserve the author's voice. Is that part of the task at hand, is to preserve the Jack Ryan Jr. voice? Or how do you approach that? There's got to be a lot of pressure to meet that threshold you talked about.
Yeah, there is obviously pressure. The good news is the editor, Tom Colgan, he does a really good job of saying, you're not going to be Tom Clancy. Don't try to be Tom Clancy. Okay. Be Jack Stewart and write the best Jack Stewart book in the Tom Clancy universe. Now, that being said, I do want to respect the fans and what they have come to expect from a Tom Clancy novel. So, like you said, I'm not just going to have Jack Ryan Jr. sitting on the couch eating Cheetos and watching TV. He's going to be doing something, and it's going to be something that they expect.
Maybe they wouldn't expect him sitting on the beach drinking a Mai Tai. I don't know. And like, what's going on here? He's just checking out the chicks and doing the beach thing. They need a Tom Clancy goes on vacation book, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's what this book starts as. Is Tom, he's Jack Ryan's going on vacation, and it doesn't go so well for him.
Here I pulled that joke out. I didn't even know that was the premise. So I must have somehow knew by osmosis what was going on there. But yeah, it's one of those. What is that Godfather 2 line? Every time I try and get out, they pull me back in. Something like that. That's my worst.
Yep. That's pretty much exactly what happens to him.
Yeah. It's been wonderful to have you on, Jack. We'd love to have you on in the future again. Please come back for the next books of Tom Clancy. We like to keep interviewing you guys. And of course, the audience loves the work. So thank you very much. Give us your .coms as we go out so people can pick up the book out there.
Yeah. Website, jackstewartbooks.com. I do list all the books on there with links to where you can buy them.
Well, thanks, Jack, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thanks to my audience for tuning in. Order the book wherever fine books are sold. Tom Clancy, Pressure, Depth. And hopefully we'll get Jack for the next upcoming novel. It's definitely not... I see what it's done. It's giving me all the Tom Clancy novels. Wow, there's a lot of people. Oh, there's no image yet, but I guess the next book is called Tom Clancy 0 Point. And it comes out... When does this come out? May 18th, 2027. What? 2027? I'm not ready. I'm still in 2020. Wow. Is the book, I don't know, it's my business, but is the book done and just waiting for the editing and then release?
Yeah, the book is done. It's almost through the editing process, and I'm about 60% of the way through the third book.
There you go. To the third book, folks. You know it's coming, so you better buy this book now and read it so that you can be prepared for the next launch, especially if you read really slow, then you might. By the time you get done with it. But I think most people binge these things. They love eating them up.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.
You've been listening to the most amazing, intelligent podcast ever made to improve your brain and your life. Warning, consuming too much of the Chris Voss Show podcast can lead to people thinking you're smarter, younger, and irresistible sexy. Consume in regularly moderated amounts. Consult a doctor for any resulting brain bleed.